Everyone. Welcome to day two of the knockouts of the USBF Junior Trials. Yesterday was day one, which we covered on our channel, twitch.tv/GT Bridge Club, for those maybe watching on Love Bridge and want to take part in the action. Um, it was the first day of the knockouts for the USA1 and USA1 and USA2 brackets in the U26 and USA1. In the case of U21, as we can see, Juan beat Sheng and Kolesnik beat Chen in the USA1 bracket. So Juan and Kolesnik will be playing now the USA1 finals in a two-day match affair starting today. Um, Zhang and Chen, of course, dropping to bracket two in bracket two, which is the USA2 bracket, and Eckert and Young survived, beating disposing of Yang and Brezak respectively in the U26 USA2 brackets. And as a result of yesterday, Chen, which was the higher finishing losing semifinalist in the USA1 bracket, got the opportunity to choose their opponents. So today we'll be seeing later on Chen versus Young and Zhang versus Eckert because Chen had the rights to choose their opponent. We're going to be covering all three matches later today, but first I want to introduce joining us in commentary Chris Willenken. Chris Willenken is one of the best bridge players in the world we have today. Um, he's a multi-time NAVC Plus champion, has been a mainstay in Team Rosenthal in recent years, winning the Vanderbilt in 2023 as part of Team Rosenthal, and he also earlier this year won the Mixed World Championship. Um, and also, he's one of the best commentators, especially if you were watching the Risinger earlier this year. He commented that over the course of two days, I believe, and the videos are still available on YouTube if you want to check that out later for a really high level technical analysis. But either and coming now back from a successful regional, welcome, Chris.
Hey everyone, good to be here.
And yeah, in the U21 bracket, Key beat Shea. Key disposed of Shea, and Silverstein disposed of He. So Key versus Silverstein in the USA1 finals today. That's also going to be a really interesting matchup, but we won't be covering that. That'll be being covered on other streams, twitch.tv/BridgeOverlord201 if you want to be following that later today. Um, and yeah, with that, I think we're ready to dive into the action, Cyrus. If the match has gone live.
Well, we are ready. It appears that the players in USA1 are perhaps not ready, since all those tables are still waiting for players.
So you might try refreshing it because I have it up on another screen. I'm able to see the action for board
Let
one.
me double check that, since I saw the other matches live. I did not see.
Yeah.
This one. So
Yeah, I mean, we're doing one Kolesnik, right?
That's right.
Yeah, one Kolesnik this segment.
Yeah,
I see that.
I have
it
that.
says a different event. I got it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, it's a different event. Interesting.
Yeah, they put it
because it's
spot.
2 days, and not one.
Right. I think they're playing different.
Ooh, action.
Yes. So action on the first board where Finn opened gambling 3-0. Where at the other table they started with a club, and of course South had a tough problem over this 3-0, made kind of a normal 4-spade bid, and is now in the process of getting carried out on a stretcher. So
yep, King Jack 9-8 over that. Oof.
Yes. So which table do we want to? I guess which table do we want to focus on for this?
Well, this is the faster table, so let's keep this on for now.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah, so South here had, I think, an interesting rebid problem after opening one heart and hearing partner respond one spade. Sort of on the surface level, 16 high card points, good hearts, and it sort of appears at first blush to be a straightforward invitational jump rebid in hearts. However, that seventh heart that South has is really just an extra winner, or I suppose more accurately, one fewer loser. It's easy to imagine bidding 3 hearts and having that seventh heart kind of be the 10th trick in a part score. So I think I probably would have rebid 4 hearts with the South hand, particularly because when partner responds one spade, of course, there's no guarantee that partner's strength is in their long suit, but that's the percentage guess if you have to guess. And so king third of spades, partner responds one spade. We're sort of expecting partner to kind of fill in some of our empty spaces there in spades. And so a simple visualization would be, let's imagine the partner just has the ace queen of spades fourth and nothing else in their hand, right? We would expect to lose only one diamond, one club, and possibly one heart, right? Even if partner has a singleton heart and four spades to the ace queen, it would take kind of a big tragedy to reach game. And so here, in fact, it appears that the defense engineered a ruff and still declare emerged with 10 tricks. I wasn't following that. It didn't.
Technically could have been set. It technically could have been set if West had led their stiff spade, because it could have been spade ruff, club to the ace, spade ruff, and then ace of diamonds.
Yeah,
so they actually could be 3 today, which is pretty unlucky for
right.
Declare, who, when they see the dummy, is probably pretty pleased with their decision to have bid 4 hearts. Let's say.
Right. It looks like sort of a 10 easy trick hand if you just look at the north-south cards. But of course, there are always roughs, possibilities floating out around, and that's why there's a big luck element in bridge. You can miss a game like this, which I think is going to be easily reached in the other room and still possibly pick up.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it's interesting, Michael choosing a 2 diamond overcall over their strong club. I'm not sure if they have a way. I assume they have a way to show minors, and feels more on target with this hand. With the 2 diamond bid maybe is a little bit higher, but really we're our goal here as defending a strong club tends to be to try to get the auction back to the strong club opener before they have a chance to bid anything at the 3 level. And showing 2 of my suits, especially when I have pretty good quality in my second suit, is
and so we're talking about. Yeah, sorry. Just to interrupt, we're talking about now the screen on the right. We sort of switched tables to watching where the other one's playing. So that's what Adam's kind of talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. And basically just that it tends to be better to show 2 of your suits and allow partner and give yourself twice the chance for partner to be able to sort of create a follow-on preempt to the 3 level, versus just bidding 2 diamonds, where if partner doesn't have diamond support, 1, you might be getting killed in 2 diamonds when you actually had a club fit, and 2, you may have missed an opportunity to preempt the auction higher for the strong club.
At any rate, here opening leader had insufficient imagination to choose anything else other than his singleton. So we see the 10 of spades to the ace and the 2 of spades back. That's a suit preference. They have partner, I'm pretty sure you're roughing this. Please return a club and not a diamond when you win this trick. The low card for the low suit.
Right. And it's worth noting that Michael probably should return a low club rather than the king.
Or perhaps the queen actually would
right,
be.
Right. The queen might even be a clearer way to say, hey, partner, I have more trumps. Give me spade roughs.
Right. Overtake this trick. We want, with West, we have the king, queen of clubs now. We're going to be on lead. But we definitely want partner. It looks like partner signaling us the ace of clubs, and we definitely want partner to take the ace and give us another ruff. And so the queen of clubs switch sort of tells a little fib. Looks like Declare has the king, so then it's just a natural defense for East to win and give the ruff. So I think that's somewhat likely to happen. Meanwhile, back in the other room, back in our main table, Declares reached 4 spades, and again, when you're leading against a suit contract into a strong no trump, generally you're going to want to lead very passively. So Stella Wan here has followed that directive. She's led from her 10-3 of hearts. That's her most passive possible lead against this 4 spade contract. And Declare found, I think, a nice line of winning the heart in their hand and just not really having a convenient entry to finesse in spades. Declare just led a spade towards the dummy. And obviously that worked out really well here because squandering entries for the finesse would have not been helpful with the finesse losing. So now Declare is unblocking the hearts. And I think we're going to see a careful queen of spades next. Yep. So Declare knows the king of spades is offside. We know that the player didn't duck king doubleton almost certainly. So there's no real reason to play the ace. But here, the queen of spades is an attempt to try to keep control, right? What Declare didn't want to have, if they played ace of spades, queen of spades, then East could win and return a fourth round of spades and kind of convert the hand to no trump. And that's not desirable for Declare. So they play a queen of spades, trying to prevent the defenders from drawing all the rounds of trump. And Stella made an interesting looking duck here. I don't know that I love this play just because she risks now being eventually put on lead with the king of spades to lead a minor. The flip side is it's prevented Declare from kind of having an easy access to the hearts in the dummy. So it could work out well.
Right. I mean, Declare doesn't actually. I mean, they'll be able to rough a club there, I guess. And that's probably what they're going to switch to here. But if they're careless, say, and try a diamond to the king, that starts opening up a lot more options for the defense. And
and I think that upside down attitude, 3 of diamonds from Olivia, is definitely going to kind of clue Declare in. And of course, when someone is holding up in a situation like this where it looks more natural to win, a strong Declare will infer that the holder upper doesn't want to break any suits. So you're much more likely to hold up with queen third of diamonds, where you don't want to lead a diamond into the closed hand, rather than ace third, where you could comfortably underlead through dummies king doubleton to try to kill the heart suit. So Declare has kind of switched tacks, right, to sort of duck the club. I don't love the 10 of clubs play here. I think the jack of clubs would be a better play by Declare, although neither one rates to work here, because what Declare when Declare exits with a middle club honor, they would really like for East to win, right? And that's the hand that kind of, can't break suits. And so as a general rule, in this kind of spot, when you're exiting an honor from the closed hand, the higher the honor you exit, the more likely second hand is to kind of pop up and try to take the trick. Because, for example, if Declare does try the jack of clubs instead of the 10, East has to reckon with the possibility that Declare has ace queen jack of clubs and is trying to sneak a club by. Whereas the 10, it could be ace queen jack 10, but that's starting to get to be pretty long odds to be dealt. So it's easier to find a duck. But here, of course, everything worked out all right because the correct duck was from 3 to the king. So Declare has now roughed out the clubs, and he's now pivoting to essentially setting up his hand. And so I predict what we're going to see now is ace of hearts to pitch a diamond. And this is Declare knows that for sure, assuming that nothing crazy has happened, that this discard's going to survive, because Declare saw the 4 of hearts led 3rd and 5th, and now the deuce of hearts eventually from West. So we know East led her lowest heart. So since everyone's followed to 2 rounds, right, East can't have 4 hearts in their lead methods, or they would have led their second lowest. So Declare now should be confident the ace of hearts is going to cash, pitching a diamond. Then I think spade to the ace, cash the jack of clubs just in case, and exit a spade, right, to force East to break the diamonds in the end position.
Right. And Declare has to be careful not to play a second heart as he just did, because I guess he can, I think, survive roughing this high.
Oh, interesting.
But it's good.
He's gonna play the jack of clubs now.
Right. He'll play the jack of clubs, and East can either ruff low and get over ruffed, or if they pitch a diamond, declarer also pitches a diamond. West then is forced on to be on lead with the ace of diamonds, and concede one more trick on.
Very interesting. So
it's a neat
this would have obviously failed if East had the ace of diamonds, but again, declarer sort of going with the combination of West's first discard being an encouraging diamond, and East kind of trying to avoid breaking the lead, breaking the diamond suit to kind of read that the diamonds are there. So this is actually very interesting. It's kind of I would say a more counterintuitive line, because what's basically going to happen here is declarer is going to make the jack of spades what we call en passant, right? To steal a term from chess, where East is going to have the high trump. So if East were on lead, he could draw dummy's trump. But because the lead is coming from either West or North, there's basically no way to stop the jack of spades from scoring. Even if West were to lead something that East was void in, right? If East has the king six and South is sitting behind them with the singleton jack, as long as South is void of what's led, there's no way to avoid conceding a trick to the jack. So, and this is the kind of thing where, if you're a declarer and you decide to bank on the diamond being offside, you'll go looking for a solution. And here he happened to arrive at a more complex solution first off. So not obvious to analysts' eyes, but since he happened to think that way, it's perfect.
Well, so Chris, it is actually, I think, better though, right? Because
if ace queen of diamonds with West,
exactly. So West could have ace queen of diamonds, and now exactly now the end play solution wouldn't work. This one,
I would say it's debatable because it fails against ace queen of diamonds with West, although we might have seen in that case. I think East
they might have shifted. Yeah.
Simply taken the king of clubs and played a diamond through to their partner's ace queen, or take the king of spades and play a diamond. So I think we can be confident that's not the case. But where this line would fail is if East had ace queen third of diamonds, had all the points, and West pitched a tricky two of diamonds, encouraging, kind of knowing that partner had everything and just trying to mislead the declarer. So probably both extremely unlikely scenarios. But I predict declarer didn't get that deep into it. He just read the cards. It looked like the diamond ace was offside, and he found something that worked.
Mm-hmm. So how many diamonds are we bidding as South?
Yeah, so this is everybody vulnerable board here. So after a heart past two clubs, game forcing, and the alert I'm guessing is that this could be a 2 or 3 card club suit occasionally if East had a balanced hand. So South has a classic preempt type of shape, and critically, no possible defensive trick against either hearts or clubs in his hand. And so in this spot, it's super, super important to preempt something because you really don't want your partner to your opponents to kind of breeze into their slam. And so in my mind, this is a question between 3 diamonds and 4 diamonds. Maybe the conservative 3 diamonds, with 8 is better because once the opponents have already forced to game, now they have penalty doubles in their arsenal after your preempt, which is not normally something we have to deal with, right? Often in life, we preempt and one of the opponents has a penalty double, but their double would be coded for takeout, right? So they have to hit 3-no trump or something and we escape. But once the opponents are in a game-forcing auction, they have penalty doubles, so maybe the kind of conservative 3 diamonds is a better choice, although I would not fault South for choosing 4. And sure enough, here we see...
Brent also chose 3 diamonds at the other table.
Yeah. So, and then interesting auction here. So, the question is, what should Olivia do after 3 diamonds, pass, double? And I assume that this double is sort of, again, in a penalty style. Obviously, East has pretty good defense against 3 diamonds, so easy to see why she would want to double. And then Olivia, interestingly, pulling to her 3-card heart suit instead of her 4-card club suit, or her 5-card heart suit rather, instead of her 4-card club suit. It is 5 good hearts. She's probably visualizing 4 hearts being a good game opposite Queen Doubleton, especially if the diamond stopper is shaky.
And well, and she wants to leave 3-0 in the picture, in that if partner bids 3-0 over 3 hearts with Olivia's hand, right? You're probably going to check that out, right?
Well, I would say that would be a very nervous moment for me. So here, as it turns out, 3-0 trump is a big winner because partner is really loaded in diamonds, and the spades are weak for playing in 5 clubs, although here it turns out Declare would survive 5 clubs, but then we could also sort of imagine a similar hand where East had the king of spades instead of the king of diamonds. Maybe they have ace jack third in diamonds, something like that, where it's an easy 6 clubs, which brings us back where we came in, right? This is why it's so important to preempt something with the south hand, right? It just when East West can't get clubs raised at the 3 level, they have a guess whether to show the club fit and get past 3-0. Whereas if South had passed or bid 2 diamonds or something like that, West would raise clubs immediately, and then it's much easier for West to kind of give up in 3-0 trump, having shown the 4-card club support.
Yeah, so actually, here's a question I have. In this auction where East chooses to double and then pull a 3 hearts to 3-0 trump, what do you think would be like the worst diamond holding you would expect from East in this spot, as opposed to maybe a hand where they might have chosen to go another route instead of offering the double initially?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think the modern expert style is to play that double in the pass out seat here while still penalty isn't necessarily completely loaded in diamonds. Like, as somebody who first bid was in another suit, they're unlikely to be super loaded in diamonds. So I think the most common expert treatment is to say, okay, well, this is sort of, it's penalty-ish, but pull it if you have some interesting distributional feature that you haven't shown yet. So here, of course, West with the singleton diamond and the 4-card club suit, and maybe even if Kit Woolsey were here, he'd also say, and the 6-card heart suit, ace king jack 10 5th, right? Trying to get Doubleton. Yeah. It's not kind of a fold up your cards and pass, I've got them killed here. And so to answer your question about exactly what diamond holding it would be, I think it could be as little as something like 3 to the king if the rest of the hand were really defensively oriented, right? Like, let's imagine you have this kind of empty aces in the black suits, or more or less empty, that you got to find some point somewhere, and a singleton heart, something like that, where you think to yourself, if partner just has some sort of boring, 4, 5, 2-2 hand, you think you're going to kind of murder them in 3 diamonds double. So yeah, it definitely could be as little as honor third with, extreme defensive orientation. That's what I would think. With offensive orientation in that hand, you're probably just going to bid 3-0 trump instead, or bid another suit.
Right. Well, so I guess to that point, how do you feel about the double with the East hand on this auction, right? It feels like the East hand is maybe a little closer to 3-0 rather than double, just because, we really do want to play 3-0 most of the time with the East hand.
I mean, I would think, I've got, sort of 4 defensive tricks in my own hand, right? So it's like ace, king of diamonds, ace of clubs, and some other trick. Maybe the king of clubs will cash. Maybe I'll get a heart rough. Maybe the jack of spades will combine with something partner has for an extra trick. So I sort of feel like it's equal vulnerability, right? So even if I double them and only get down 2 against the game, so I get plus 500 when I could have got plus 600 or plus 630, that's not a huge tragedy. Of course, I could also get plus 800 against plus 600 or plus 630, which is sort of a equal win to the loss of 500, right? So, kind of, if they go down 2 or 3, I'm indifferent in the long run to whether I doubled or bid 3 to trump. And then, once in a while, once in a blue moon, you double with this hand and you actually don't make a game. Or you don't make the game that you bid, right? So you imagine, you get to 3-no trump, and that's, somehow there's a problem where you would have made 5 clubs or 4 spades or something like that. So I think I'd be really comfortable with double here, just because the chance that they're going to escape for down 1 doubled is just really, really, really small.
Yeah. So in the main room on the new board that we're seeing, it seems like North-South maybe had a bit of a mix-up here, with South thinking that 2 spades was sort of more directly asking about a spade stopper. To me, I tend to play that 2 spades is really our primary way of just making a general game force here, and I think it's kind of necessary to do that, because you really do want to be able to bid something like 2 diamonds, let's say, as natural and non-forcing in this sort of auction where partners made to support them. And because of that, I think South had a pretty low risk, straightforward 3 spade bid available to them over 3 clubs, to say, hey, that's great, you have some clubs and heart support. Do you also have a spade stopper? And so he may have thought that North had already denied a spade stopper, or at least a good one, and opted for 4 hearts rather than 3.
I thought another option that might have been possible. Note that South did not really necessarily deny 5 hearts in this auction. Maybe there might have been some concern that if partner does not have a spade stopper, which is possible on a lot of layouts, and it goes 3 spades, maybe 4 clubs, and then Bruce bids 4 hearts, maybe he might have thought that might have been a really strong hand with hearts.
Yeah, I think we need to be able to get back to. We need to be able to sort of investigate the best game before the best slam. And in this auction, when we bid 3 clubs as North, we haven't really said much about our spade holding, right? We're sort of trying to describe the overall type of hand that we have. Hey, we have 6 clubs and we have heart support, right? Much more so than we're trying to say, hey, I have a spade stopper, because that's not the question that 2 spades kind of asks you, right?
There's 2 integrated concepts here. So the first, kind of foundational concept is, when we are responder, and it's our second turn to bid, if we're not already in a game force, we must always have some way to make an artificial force to game. So if partner rebids 1-no trump, experts are playing game forcing, new minor forcing, right? 2 diamonds is a game force. If we bid 3 suits, partner's bidding 4th suit forcing. And if the opponents have overcalled, the Q bid is serving that function. So all those bids are the same. There's the same exact idea. There's different because the logic of what optimizes your bidding space is different on the auction, but we always have to have some bid that's an artificial game force. So that's foundational concept number 1. And foundational concept number 2 is that when we make the artificial game force, we receive a natural rebid from partner, and the game forcer's next bid sets the trumps. So here, after 2 spades and then 3 clubs, if South had bid 3 hearts, that just said I had just a forcing 3 heart bid the whole time, but I had to use my artificial game force. Kind of have to do a little 2-step dance, my little dance there, 2-step dance to make 3 hearts forcing, right? Because it would have been just invitational directly over the support double. If South had bid 3 diamonds, okay, I've got a game forcing hand with hearts and diamonds, and then I think the re-cubit of 3 spades implicitly sets clubs as trumps. And this is also an important concept, not as foundational as the other 2, but in general, if you're coming somewhere and partner doesn't know where, because you're trying to set trumps naturally, if you bid something artificial, partner should assume you have the suit you couldn't show naturally, right? So 3 spades here must logically be clubs, because we can't bid 3 clubs to set trumps over partner's clubs. So 3 spades says clubs are trump, but I'm possibly still looking for a no trump stopper here because I didn't just raise to 4 clubs. So there's an inference here that this bid is sort of looking for 3 no trump.
Yeah. A missed opportunity at the other table. Of course, 3-0 going down by North on the diamond lead. If I recall, the auction at the other table was on precision 2 clubs, pass 2 diamonds, 2 spades, check, and then South bid 3 diamonds, which was alerted. I didn't see the alert, but I was wondering if maybe West could have considered doubling 3 diamonds for a lead for a sort of lead direct. But I mean, obviously, ace queen third is not really. I mean, it's not a real suit necessarily, but
yeah, I'd be very wary of making lead directing doubles at lower levels without sort of a real holding in the suit. Partially because when if you're wrong, right, it's possible perhaps North still has 4 diamonds on this auction, right? You're pretty sure
call
you're
your bluff.
Right, like you have. I like your chances to beat 5 diamonds, but I'm a little more worried about 3.
I'm quite surprised, by the way, if it went that way, that a diamond was led from 10-9-6 after a 2 spades overcall rather than a spade from Queen Doubleton.
It was not.
A spade was led. That's why I said a missed opportunity.
A spade was led. So
I see. Yes.
It was just
okay. So they did in fact.
Yeah. They did lead the Queen of Spades, and then North was comfortably making 3-0.
Well, not so comfortably from their perspective.
Not so comfortably, but once one was 20 ace of hearts.
Yes.
Yeah, this is definitely one of these hands where you lead a heart at trick 2, right? Just in case the ace of hearts is with the east, and you hope they just kind of play second hand low, or maybe pop with the ace of hearts and play another spade. You definitely not a hand for running clubs and letting them signal before you try to get your 9th trick out of hearts.
Absolutely.
Right, and of course the other interesting question is on the spade, right? Which spade do you win it with, right? Partner has led the queen. They've led the Queen of Spades, and you have ace king tight, right? Which one is maybe more deceptive to them? Here I would actually think potentially the king might be more deceptive. If you had ace doubleton, you'd be likely to duck
with a high percentage, yeah.
And whereas if you started with king doubleton, which is what the impression you're trying to give, you would have been forced to win the king on the first round.
100%, and this is why West's card at trick 2 should definitely trick 1 rather should definitely be a discouraging spade, right? In other words, if we're the West hand and our partner's led from Queen Doubleton of Spades, we know that whatever else is going on, if partner does somehow miraculously gain the lead, which doesn't look that likely, we definitely want a diamond through the ace queen. We can play a spade back then if it looks discreet, but here none of it matters because of course all the entries are in the safe hand.
North South are having a relay auction, of course. Looking at the bits, it looks like longer for hearts and spades. Yeah, 4-5-2-2 basically. And now he's going to be showing a medium hand, I believe, 12-ish, like 10 to 12 points or so.
Yeah, I mean, and the South hand facing 4-5-2-2 is pretty excited for slam, right? They can see that they cover all of their partners. Minor suit losers, their doubleton spade looks kind of good to be able to maybe rough some spades if we need to.
Oh, that's a 13 count, excuse me. Yep.
And one way or the other, South is going to be thinking slam, especially when partner shows 13 here, right?
Yeah, but 4 controls also exactly. So we're looking at 2 aces or ace king from South's perspective.
Right, and South would honestly prefer ace king. They're maybe a little bit worried about the heart quality, right? We're worried.
Yeah.
Does partner have king empty 5th of hearts, right? Where now slam is actually potentially hopeless, or at least very.
Or even 2 empty aces in a spade lead, or even 2 empty aces and on a spade lead, you're in trouble.
Right, exactly. So here South might actually be a little bit more cautious. Or at least not have an easy way to figure this out. And this is one of the challenges with relay sometimes is that we get partners shape and we get some of their high cards, their high cards, but often the sort of the middling suit quality is what makes or breaks some of these game or slam decisions. And that's a lot harder to get, in a sort of relay structure versus sometimes if you're bidding naturally, it sort of, becomes self-evident.
Yes, so what Adam's talking about is, let's say, South at some point in a natural auction shows 3-card heart support and makes a slam try, right? North knows in an 8-card fit, every trump honor is critically important to kind of filling in that suit. So if North can learn that South is interested in slam in hearts, they can evaluate that Jack of Hearts is very important, right? Thinking, if partner's sitting there with ace empty third, queen empty third of hearts, that's an important card. And even if partner has ace queen third, right, it protects us against the 4-1 break. So that Jack of Hearts is a golden card if North can be involved in the bidding. But in a relay auction, oftentimes one hand is just showing and it doesn't get to kind of voice an opinion, knowing what's trump. So it looks like that's what happened here.
Brent did not describe his hand the entire time, but it's funny because now Richard is declaring and everyone knows his shape and basically his card, basically his controls at trick 1.
And that's okay sometimes when, it's not, or at least it's not the end of the world, right? Like on a hand like this, right, it's more important to have sort of good information about what's going on, right, than it is to necessarily right-side it. But here, I think Brent was sort of forced with a difficult decision. He just kind of blasted 6 hearts because that was probably the most likely. It was most likely to probably be right, but he has to be as dummy, let's say, at least a little bit concerned. When partner plays trumps, how is that going to go? Right.
And speaking of which, right, this is a trump suit where it's a clear play to start leading trumps towards the king jack 5th, right? Because if trumps are 3-2, declare is going to have no problem. So the relevant question is, what 4-1 breaks can we pick up? And so if East has ace 10 4th, we'll never be able to solve it unless we see their cards, right? We could just play a heart to the 9 or something, but we never do that in real life. So
we never do that. Yeah,
we're just down. If West has ace 10 4th, we're going to play, assuming we play the king of hearts and the queen of hearts on the first 2 rounds of hearts, we're going to see East show out. So again, no problem. We're going to pick that holding up. So it turns out and if East has singleton ace, again, as long as we play king and then queen, we're going to see that and pick it up. So the only holding where it matters what we do is when West has specifically the singleton ace. And in that case, we have with a low card through West, which of course, declarer here didn't have to do it. They were situated in the right hand on the opening lead as it happened. So it just looks normal, but I'm pretty confident that if a spade had been led, declarer would have crossed the dummy to lead a heart up, just handling that combination correctly.
Yes, and both tables, of course, getting that right, and so another flat board. But
flat board, good bridge, yeah. So.
Right, and the south hand playing a strong club. If I was white, I would be tempted to open it on the 1 level. Where when I have limited openings available. Red, I'm far less tempted.
So this looks like
reasonable choice.
Yeah, I see no alert here, so it looks like this 2 hearts is a natural weak 2 bit. I would say a junior.
They play multi, so this is 5 hearts and 4 of a minor.
Yeah, this is right. This is hearts and a minor, so this is sort of your prototypical hand for that, right? You 5-5. You have a pretty good heart quality as well. And it'll be now part.
And the rest of the auction's kind of forced at that point.
Yeah, although North has a really interesting problem now.
They do.
I think,
like when it comes 4 spades back to them.
Yeah, I think they're probably just going to shrug and double, but it's a little bit scary, right? Because you can imagine your partner is sitting there with, hearts and clubs, and the opponents have a huge spade and diamond fit, which is actually not dissimilar to kind of how it is now. And sometimes on these deals, both sides are making a lot of tricks. And in fact, here, if we just look with diamonds being 2-2, declarer is going to lose. Two clubs, a diamond, and a spade for 1 down, when 4 hearts would have been an easy contract. So there were a lot of tricks, but at least it turns out nothing bad happened to North South. Par was achieved here.
Right. Well, and at it's kind of a nice win for this 2 heart opening here, in that, if we look in the other room, right, we see that
It's going to pass
North
out.
South kind of got frozen out of the auction. North choosing not to overcall vulnerable on the 2 level on his queen 5th, facing a passed partner, which I think we all can agree is probably a reasonable choice. And when given that happened, it really starts to look like North South just they got completely frozen out, and some of the time that may have been costly, right? Here,
So
here it's not going to cost much, because they're just going to defend 4 spades and double. But
counterpoint is, if you're going to open 2 hearts, hit a hand with this fancy gadget which prevents you from opening a natural weak 2 hearts, hit North with basically a strong no trump with or not quite, but a solid opening bid with 5-card support, and the net total is to win 3 imps. When a finesse wins, by the way, right? In other words, if you look at the North South hands, it's not like defending 4 spades doubled is a great thing. You need to win the club finesse to nip them a trick, right? So if that's your best case, is doubling them in a questionable spot, it's not clear they belong doubled, then maybe it's not the greatest convention.
That's fair. Yeah. No, I it's hard to disagree with that. And it's interesting, Finn made also kind of a tactical 4 spade bid over 1 spade, right? Judging that, yes, he does, you might want to have a 5th trump for this, sort of classically, but, his 6-4 shape and sort of very minimal defense, he has no aces. So, if partner moves over 4 spades on their own volition, that's probably fine, right? And partner's not going to go. We're not going to miss a lot of slams by doing this, simply because we don't have aces. We don't have the queen to trump. We don't have any of these things, and he makes sure that he shuts out the opponents from bidding their hearts or clubs. Looking at a singleton heart when partner's opened a spade, it's not shocking that the opponents have a big heart fit.
And I want to say something historical here. That's, I think, kind of important, right? So I learned bridge from a textbook written in the 1950s, actually. That's how I
That
first.
Is very historical, yes.
Yeah, well, that's not the that's just the prologue. So in that book, I learned that partner open 1 major, you would raise to 4 major with 5 trump and a singleton. But I also learned that you could open with 4-card majors. So it's very interesting that for the sort of the players that are just learning now, everyone plays 5-card major openings, of course, but the textbooks kind of haven't caught up on what responder should be doing, because, of course, if your partner is opening a 4-card major, then you definitely need to wait for 5 trumps to make that big preempt. But in fact, modern expert strategy is to frequently do this with 4 trump and a singleton, especially as Adam is describing, right? It's a hand with big offense, right? We've got 6-4 distribution and no defense against any contract from the opponents to speak of. Here, East actually does take a miracle trick against hearts, because the suit's 2-2. If somehow partner leads a diamond on a spade lead, 5 hearts would. They got 2 chance to switch. So it wouldn't matter. But it's sort of a miracle trick. And so this is a strong strategy. So you all out there should play like the people from the 1950s. Meaning, if you have 9 trumps combined between the 2 hands, with big shape in the dummy and no defense, definitely want to just jump to 4 major on those hands and make life difficult on the opponent.
Yeah, and well, that and I think that there's sort of this range of these, let's say 6 to 9, the hands that you might classically call a mixed raise, that are a little bit stronger than a mixed raise, right? Playing strength wise, those are kind of the hands that are a good fit for this, in the sense that if you have much more than that or much less than that, right? You're potentially risking either large numbers or shutting your side out of a potential slam. But with a hand like this, you're sort of, this is kind of a, let's say 1950s textbook, in that if partner has all of these controls that we're missing, maybe they'll think about moving, and otherwise we're not too worried about that. And certainly, playing 4 spades opposite a random minimum opener, as partner has here, right, is going to be just fine.
Yeah, here we're essentially on not losing 2 club tricks or a diamond rough, which is perfectly good game, especially so when you see that defense against 4 hearts is pretty shaky. So on these kind of hands with big fits and distribution, you usually do well to play the hand, because usually someone's making something and you actually don't care who, right? If they're making 4 hearts, it's going to be winning. If you're making 4 spades, it's going to be winning. As long as the total tricks are up there, which they rate to be when you have a big fit and distribution, you want your side to declare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting that South did, given the chance to make this pitch, right? They've got to be thinking, looking at the dummy, I want to make absolutely sure partner doesn't play a club, and so South has a chance to helpfully make a discard for partner. Their first priority should be pitching a high club, making sure that partner doesn't make a potentially catastrophic club shift.
Yeah, 100%, 100% agree there, right? And so. In general, the strongest signal you can give on a discard is to discourage. So if South, they're playing upside down signals, I presume. So if South throws the 7 of clubs, something the partner can recognize as high. I just can't possibly support a club lead. And with a kind of a world-class partnership, if South doesn't pitch a club, there's an inference that that's not the case here. So I think this 3 of hearts discard, which is not that helpful. I think an expert South world-class South would likely have queen of clubs or something where they didn't want to encourage or discourage, so they didn't want to pitch a club. So they just kind of pitch something neutral. But here I definitely expect to see that helpful 7 of clubs. Yeah, it's very important on defense, right? Not just think about what we have, but what are partners' problems here? And just looking at that dummy, right? The East dummy. Right, we're sort of expecting our partner to switch to a club, right? I mean, fearing that clubs will eventually be discarded on those diamonds.
Yeah.
So when we see that partner is headed towards doom, we definitely got to get that 7 of clubs out of our hand really quickly.
And he's in the tank right now. He's probably wondering about maybe I play partner for the king of clubs in this position. But I mean, you're not setting the contract that way. It's the counter argument.
Yeah,
because you need partner to have ace of diamonds too.
Yeah, it's interesting. So maybe that's what he's thinking about.
Right. Well, and he's probably thinking, well, if partner has the king of
ace
clubs,
of diamonds.
Right. I mean, we need them to sort of put a club through when they're in with the ace of diamonds. So how can I make that even more clear? But
I think the 3 of hearts might have been intended as count, not as count. I mean, also know that trick 1 was a heart to the 10. South did not insert the king. He inserted the 10. So Richard knew a bit about the hand.
Well, that's actually scarier for Richard, arguably, because if South started with the ace of diamonds and king of clubs, and West started with the king of hearts, right, which is actually possible, right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Hearts, we would have
taken the pitch at trick 2 probably.
Yeah, they would have pitched immediately.
Right. Exactly. They always should pitch immediately, but when partner makes.
But anyway, the defense should play itself at this point.
We have to at least be thinking like what's going on, and of course we'll rule that out, and everything is fine today, but it's still good to be able to build a fence around partner when it's straightforward to. And here the 7 of clubs is, as a discard, is sort of a very straightforward way to make sure that partner gets it right.
Yep. Meanwhile, on the right hand screen, South had an interesting problem after a club pass a heart with their 4-4 and the other 2 suits. So take out double kind of shape, but also 17 high cards with a bunch of really good
15, right?
15, not 17.
Oh,
that's a 15 count.
Never mind. That's the second time I've had it hand, so I probably should clean my glasses. So then, of course, choosing not to make the alternative 1 no trump overcall, which I agree with 15, and soon finding themselves on defense against 3 no trump with no way to ever kind of get out of their own way. So a quick 11 tricks for Declare over there.
Yeah, and honestly, the hand itself is not all that interesting, so it's kind of nice that we'll be able to follow the next board, which looks more entertaining.
How many cards is seized? 2.
Red, white, and second seed. This hand has a lot of flaws, right? The spade void is probably more of a flaw than a benefit here. The side ace, bad heart suit. There's a lot of there's a lot of problems with this hand.
And just thinking about it on a simpler level, it's a very common expert tactic. If you have a 7-card suit that doesn't meet your partnership requirements for a 3-bid at whatever the prevailing vulnerability is, you just open 2. So I think here, West is probably going to be expecting something more like King, Queen, 10, 7th for a second chair, unfavorable 3-heart opening at a minimum, just in terms of suit quality. So East just kind of, even without, I agree with all of the points Adam's making, but even we don't have to get that deep. We can just say, look, mediocre 7 is like good 6. So I'm happy to treat this as a weak 2-bid vulnerable.
And it's interesting. West thinking about it has to be thinking: are we going to play 4 hearts, or are we going to play 3 no here? Because partner might only have 6 hearts. And we saw this a little bit yesterday as well. But these sorts of hands where you don't have where you're going to have to lose tricks in order to set up your winners, and where you expect that you probably have only 1 stopper in whatever suit the opponents are going to lead, often play much better in a suit contract, right? So even here, Absolutely. Right, where partner has the ace of diamonds, right, because the rest of our cards are soft, and we're going to have to give up tricks to those aces. We only have 8 tricks in 3 no, right? Even when partner has that ace of diamonds that makes our diamonds run. Whereas 4 hearts, even if partner only had 6, if they had 6, they would be better hearts. And today, when they have 7, 4 hearts only has 3 sort of clear losers, and obviously a little bit of risk of maybe a diamond ruff from the hand with 2 hearts or something. But 3 no looks pretty hopeless, whereas 4 hearts, has plenty of chances, and in fact is where I'd like to play this hand.
So it might be playing August, so I'm not sure if that slows down West.
3 clubs is bad. Is the alert, so.
I think here, bad is going to be in context. This pair's as you can see, right? I mean, that this hand is bad means the overall quality is good. So Olivia is just, kind of playing the hand out in her head and seeing this problem that Adam's describing, right? So, what's going to happen? They're going to knock out whichever stopper I have, and we're not going to be able to set up our hearts in time. And so she goes for 4 hearts that makes the winning decision.
Yes, and there shouldn't be a ton to the play in 4 hearts. We'll just win the ace of spades and play some trumps, and at some point they will win their trumps and give up the ace of clubs, and we'll just, at least when trumps are 3-2, right? We'll sort of easily come to 10 tricks.
Yeah, it's going to be king of hearts to the ace, diamond switch, Declare flies ace, cashes the queen of hearts, and tries to play some diamonds.
I wonder if
rough in and cash the ace, cash partner's ace of clubs.
I wonder if Olivia might have been considering 3 no as a possible spot, because if she was trying to go to 4 hearts opposite of 3 clubs response, and I have to assume with high frequency you're not like your partner's not going to have it's not going to have enough key cards where, I mean, like 6 hearts probably doesn't rate to be odds on. So I'm wondering if she was considering 3-0 versus 4 hearts and probably judging based on the response instead of otherwise she could have maybe gone to 4 hearts directly without involving a 2-0 bid along the way.
It's a good point. I think that, you know, given that she was thinking over 3 clubs, she may have sort of bid 2-0 thinking, hey, you know, I'm going to work out what to do over partners. Use this time, you know, while partner is responding to work out what to do. But I agree with you that, you know, I think with her actual hand, her plan was probably always going to be to bid 4 hearts. And so, in fact, you know, it would give up less information and be sort of slightly more difficult for the opponents, right? Maybe the opponents even find a good save or something, right? By bidding 2-0, whereas by just bidding 4 hearts right away, we tell the opponents a little bit less about what our hand type is, and we sort of eat up all of the room to where if they bid out over 4 hearts, more power to them. But you know, we're giving up less information and giving them less room. So.
And Finn chose 3 hearts at the secondary table with the same hand in question.
That is
it's sort of a style matter, and of course, in these spots, when you're vulnerable, generally, I think having a somewhat solid style is better, right? So here, for example, at the other table, Olivia was able to know that even opposite a quote unquote bad suit 2 heart opening, that singleton king was going to be adequate trumps, that, you know, partner wasn't going to show up with jack 6 or something like that. And so when you're vulnerable, it's not really so much about avoiding penalties, although that's important too. It's also about just bidding to your games, right? A preempt can often be the beginning of an intelligent, constructive auction where partner now can kind of visualize more or less what you have and choose intelligently.
And so here on the new board, you know, we see sort of straightforward but good auction to 3-0 here. You know, East 1-0 trump over 1 spade. Importantly, I see some sort of newer players and bidding 1-0 trump on a lot of really, really bad hands with short spades, and that's just not it's just not a winner and not a good idea. And you know, saving this 1-0 trump bid for when you actually have sort of a constructive hand, right? You know,
8 to 12,
8 to 11. Yeah, exactly right. As a passed hand, you know, we're even a little bit more limited, but yes, like you know, and you know, even with just queening the club, you know, Stella kind of making the thoughtful decision not to bid 2 hearts and in fact to bid 1-0 trump, you know, which also has the advantage of right-siding it some of the time when partner has a club card.
Yeah, and the reason you don't want to be advancing 2 hearts on a crappy 5-card suit is that if partner just has a minimum overcall with a singleton heart, there might be nowhere for them to go. And so you could just end up in a completely ridiculous contract, right? Queen 10-5 opposite a low singleton or something. Whereas 1-0 trump could pass out and be suboptimal. Maybe you belonged in 2 hearts, but it's very unlikely to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gonna have reasonable odds.
Yeah. So here, this 9 of clubs lead, presumably Rusinau, you know, showing the 10 and possibly a higher honor. Yep. So we're probably going to expect this to go 9 of clubs, smooth, low here. Yep. The declarer wins the queen, and still, actually, she doesn't know where the king of clubs is. They should sort of presume it's likely in South. They opened and led the suit.
Right. And as declarer here, sort of, you're a little short on tricks. You're probably looking to establish your spades, hoping that in fact South did lead from the king of clubs.
Yes, exactly.
The question is, do you cash the ace of spades and just play spades, or do you take a spade finesse?
Yeah, and I think this is a very reasonable line. There's kind of plenty of entries to dummy, so hopefully blocked spades that you see here when the spade finesse loses, they're blocked. But you know, hopefully this shouldn't cause too much trouble. I think now South is just going to return another club.
Well, right. I mean, the
They
three
might
heart
consider
bid is a
cashing a
little
high
helpful.
heart King of Hearts or something first, just to
Right. The three
signal what
heart
their
bid
plan is.
is helpful to
it
maybe
is possible. Although the flip side is, if South does cash the King of Hearts here, they're giving away a lot of information. That's all of a sudden, a fair number of high card points. They might not want to squeal. And after all, if North gains the lead, what could they possibly return other than a heart, right? That it's a
Right.
East didn't bid hearts, and the dummy is a singleton. So I feel like we don't necessarily need to clarify it so much for Declare. I guess the one question would be, could Declare just have 9 tricks and we have the whole heart suit? So that might be a reason to cash it. But then that might be a question of what North's diamond signal was on the first round of diamonds, right? So here, Declare wins the Queen of Clubs, leads a diamond at trick 2. And this is a situation where most expert pairs are not giving count in diamonds. They're giving some sort of signal about the opening lead. So perhaps this was a standard go where South's 6 of diamonds, being a relatively high one, was asking for a continuation of the opening lead. And needing to keep his 10-8 for later, actually, right? So here, pitching the 8 of diamonds could eventually block.
Actually, interestingly, they played reverse Smith. I just checked their card, so
yeah. So I think North was worried that if he gave encouraging Smith, that Declarer might work out what was going on and drop the King of Clubs. So giving sort of a false Smith, because to the point about Declarer,
it benefits Declarer more.
To the point about Declarer having 9 tricks, it's going to be hard for them to, because we know that they only started with 2 spades, right? So they at most they have 2 spades, maybe 5 diamonds and 2 clubs. In
which case that wouldn't have taken a finesse. So yeah, that's workoutable. I agree.
Yeah,
exactly. Good analysis. So yeah, at any rate, of course, North obviously has no trouble here, and Declare is going to be sailing into the muck.
Right. And the only question is maybe whether South just cashes out, right, and takes their down 1, or whether they can actually work out that it's not urgent to cash out, and the Declarer is still a little short on tricks. But
yeah, they're going to be a little worried about that doubleton Queen of Diamonds.
Yeah. So I would. It's hard to blame them for seeing 5 tricks against 3-0 and taking those 5 tricks.
Yeah, because here we're South knows that Declare has 2 clubs, right? They've seen all 13 clubs in the deck, and they know they have 2 spades from the bidding. So yeah, 5
and
diamonds.
5 hearts. So they don't have 5.
They don't know the 5 hearts.
Well, they
3 hearts was bid
over
dog.
2-0. So they
I'm sorry.
Right,
I didn't realize.
They do in fact rate.
The Queen of Diamonds is an interesting exit instead of.
Well, so they know that there's dummy only has the King of Diamond entry now, right? So they can see that the spade suit is blocked, and so they're just killing that last entry to dummy, and sort of hoping that that's going to cause Declarer to have to give them at least 1 extra trick, which I think here it will, right?
They probably deduct the diamond.
They will have to let them back into dummy with a club.
Yeah, this was a brutal hand, and it's just a thing to look for. Oftentimes, when you don't have an 8-card fit, and you don't in those hands for 3-0 trump, the spot cards really come into their own. So here, it's 25 high card points, very mediocre 3-0 trump. But if you threw in the 10 of spades or the 10 of clubs or something like that, or even the 10 of diamonds, right? Prospects improve considerably. So if you're the bidding side, diagnose that you're looking for 3-0 trump, without a fit, you really want to look for those spot cards. And of course here, it's 25 high card points. It's a vulnerable game. Everybody's going to probably bid it, but it is instructive, kind of really how mediocre a contract it is.
Yeah. Cyrus, can you look at the other table? I think the play has been interesting actually so far. If you can highlight the other table, and if you can start from the beginning, I think it was a 10 of clubs duck to the queen.
And then it was a precision diamond lead to start.
It might have been the ace of hearts and then a 10 of clubs to the queen, and now a diamond duck to the 9 and 10. But that doesn't seem consistent. Cyrus, can you go over the last few tricks if there's a way to do that?
So maybe Ace of Hearts lead, and
so we have the Ace of Hearts lead, then a 10 of Clubs to the Queen, a Diamond Duck to the 10, and now a Spade to the Queen, which is held.
Also ducked. Well, that's a lot of ducking.
It is, but Declare is learning an awful lot about the hand, right?
They are.
And in fact, the fact that South didn't lead a club on the go might give them a hint as to North having the King of Clubs.
Well, I mean, in a way, I think actually you're less likely to lead originally from King 10-9 than you are from just 10-9-8. So I'm not sure about that part of it, but I do think if they kind of switch to the 10 of clubs without much problem, right? That's a Declare a bit no trump. And you saw Ace Jack fourth and dummy, and you have King 10-9 fourth. You're probably not going to switch, right? It seems kind of like you're just giving.
Well, and in fact, he did get clubs right. Now, the question is, can he actually untangle things enough? And unfortunately for him today, it's not really possible to untangle. Right? You can't enjoy his diamond winner and the sort of spades and everything else. So now it's just going to be sort of he'll give up a spade trick probably, and still have to lose a couple more hearts in addition to that, and that'll be it.
Right, which is again just to underscore how bad this contract is. Right, when you have the East-West hands and you take 3 club tricks, and find Queen double,
and you still need more,
and still can't come close to making it. It's a problem.
Yeah, so we can go back to the other table, I guess.
Yep.
All right.
Look, so
Diamond a hard pass, and look at the East hands.
Yeah, so this is a limit raise or better. 4 trumps. I'm fairly confident. But the same thing with Olivia.
Yep.
Yes. I often don't play it after pass. I usually if North bid something, I play it, but I like to have this 2-0 when they pass as natural, just to sort of have more integrity in the Q bid. But reasonable either way.
I just have found that I don't play a ton of bridge, but the bridge I do play, I have a natural 2-0 trump bid in that spot like once every few years, and I have a 4-card limit raise every few hands. So I just like to have a immediate bid for that. It's a little bit preemptive to South. Didn't matter here, of course. South has a bare minimum bid, so they're never bidding again. But always good to kind of get this get started. And I don't know. It looks like they're maybe bidding naturally, but I actually like to use
3 clubs. I was alerted as a minimum, I believe. So I think they might just be putting their natural-ish.
3 clubs was alerted as natural-ish. So it looks like they're bidding naturally, and East is busy making slam tries, and West is going to be busy telling them to go away. Although, honestly, like with having heard partner make a natural game try and then over 3 diamonds as a counter try, bid sign off, I think East should be done and should just bid for it.
But I don't know about that, because notice here, it's 11 tricks, and partner has the wasted King of Spades. So yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's interesting, right? It's
right. I mean, if partner is 5-5 or something, we could imagine that slam is very good. Or if partner
what if partner just said? I mean, I guess 3 clubs naturalish actually is a slowdown with the 3 little club, because the hands I were giving were more like King Jack third of diamonds and 3 little spades instead of King third of spades and.
Right. I mean, it's slowdown, although we are sort of leading clubs through the opening bidder. So if partner does have a positional club holding, we might survive.
So it would be nice if East could show their shortness. And I actually now I sort of one of the reasons that I play this 2-0 is sort of always a raise is I have ways to kind of sort all of this. So West could show a minimum, with 3 clubs, and now East could show specifically a singleton spade with some higher bid, and so that is one of the great things. If you have a good system over these sort of 2 no trump raises, and you can use it even in competition, it's just a very powerful tool. Because of course, really the way that East could be completely confident giving up on slam is if she was able to say, "Hey, I have a singleton spade and a slam try," right? So now at least, if West were to sign off, East would expect wasted spade values opposite the singleton, and so that's just the one way that they could be totally comfortable here.
And Finn at the other table was able to make a splinter.
Yes, because of the 1 spade bid as north, that made spade bids artificial, and so that made life very easy. I'm betting, Stella breathed a sigh of relief after trick 1 concluded, and Olivia didn't hit the claim button. It's like, okay, at least it wasn't a cold slam we missed. No chance. I know I'm often sweating it in that spot. Just very happy to see partner play a few tricks.
So here we have sort of a game on a finesse that will be losing. The south hand, I think, that heart quality is pretty dismal, but if I at least had a way to invite in hearts, and get out at the 2 level, I would be happy to do that. Maybe if I needed to get out on the 3 level, it'd be a little scarier, but.
Yes, I mean, I think one thing to note about the north-south hands is that it's game on a finesse with every single card, including jacks, working overtime.
Yeah.
Right. So that jack of clubs is a half trick, right? If it were 3 little clubs, north-south would have kind of 1.5 club losers, depending on where the ace is, right? And now it's only 1 loser. Queen, jack of diamonds, of course, both necessary. Even the jack of hearts working. Because there's no waste in spades. That's the key thing, right? It's not like we have queen 4th opposite a double 10 where the queen is wasted. These kind of holdings are very, very difficult to diagnose. And so the abstract value of the hands is for less than game, even though it's actually a desirable vulnerable game to bid.
Right. Well, interestingly, at this table, of course, with North opening a club, it's kind of East has a straightforward double. But at the other table, with North opening a precision diamond, Finn chose to overcall a spade rather than double.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of that choice.
I especially over precision diamond, I tend to just be a little bit more careful as a responder, bidding a lot of minor suit things.
Forgetting about that, how many hands has it been since you doubled a diamond for takeout and partner couldn't, find a no trump bid or a major bid, or the opponents didn't just bail you out by bid. Oftentimes a partner has clubs, your opponent now bids a major anyway, because, major's got to be somewhere and takes partner off the hook. And of course, by the way, if you do double a diamond on a hand like East and partner bids 2 clubs, it's not necessarily the wrong contract yet, right? Partner didn't have no
partner
trump.
Can have 5 clubs with high frequency. Partners can have 5 clubs with high frequency, and it's going to be fine probably.
Yes.
Right. Well, so the question is,
the winning contract. Partners queen jack 10/5 of clubs, and it's just the best trump suit. So I'm just saying, rarely bids it, and it could be right. So for me, I just don't worry about that at all. I think you're much, much more likely to come to grief, when partner, raises you to 2 spades or even 3 spades in competition on 3 little, right? And you're just playing a ridiculous contract. I think that's a far more likely ridiculous contract than 2 clubs.
And note the king of spades lead. I like that lead a lot. The choice lead the king rather than small. This might be the only time West wins a trick, especially if spades are 4-1, and he doesn't have any entry, so he's sort of making this as a lead. Look at the dummy. I'm going to lead the king of spades, and now I can decide what to do after that.
Right. And he sees the dummy. He sees partners ostensibly discouraging spade. Or actually, I think they agreed to play suit preference when they've shown at least a 5-card suit. So I think that 8 of spades may have actually been suit preference.
Yeah, and certainly both defenders. West is expecting a singleton in declarer's hand, right? Obviously there wasn't, but from West, if West is expecting a singleton, I think a lot of people play suit preference in that kind of spot when their partner has sort of a known holding. So yeah, for probably a lot of reasons that this would be suit preference, and of course that
right. And interestingly, the one spade overcall did actually make it a little easier for North-South to sort of identify that they didn't have much spade wastage, right,
yes.
which propelled them to game today, where they might not have been there otherwise. But
yeah, I mean, 4 hearts was a big bid.
It was, yes, but looking at 4 little spades, it's it's understandable that North, especially in a precision context where they kind of have already a super maximum for their 1 diamond if they're balanced, right? Or maybe not a super maximum, but at least a maximum, right? Now they also have 4 little spades to go with that. It's understandable that North is certainly wants to play game.
That is a fair point. We've all been in worse. And in fact, maybe not on the auction, but vulnerable game on a finesse in general is the place you're happy to be.
Right. Well, and actually, if the defense isn't careful, it could be a little, they do need to lead diamonds early, right? The king of spade lead.
Because you can pick up the clubs technically.
Right. The king of spade lead and the auction at the other table made it pretty straightforward to do that. But at this table, for example, if they don't get a diamond going early, right, with a takeout double, sort of from East, it wouldn't be the craziest thing for Declarer to actually get this right, depending on how things go. But
yeah, specifically for ace double, then club to the jack, and then duck a club on the way back.
It's deep.
Yes, I'm actually still pondering. Okay, it just came through. That was a long tank before 1 diamond.
Yes.
Yeah, a great spot to be playing transfers here, because if North-South end up in a heart contract, they definitely would prefer the takeout doubler to be on lead. So first of all, obviously, they have to lead away from honors as opposed to having partner help them take finesses. But also, if one hand is a takeout double, their partner usually knows which suit is best to lead, and the takeout doubler usually is not sure.
Right. Well, and here, look at East's problem on opening lead, right? If they're leading against a heart contract,
I think
they don't want to
kind of hearts here, but sometimes
so they probably should. But if they lead the ace of clubs, aiming for a club ruff or something, even that kind of cooks them here, right?
That gives the contract.
I think that would be an extremely wrong-headed lead with so much general strength, because the point is, if partner has, let's say, the king of clubs, right? So you can play ace king of clubs and a club ruff. Well, that's 2 club tricks that you have on top, and so that even if you miss your ruff, the chance that you're
always beating it
plus king of diamonds is probably going to be worth 2 tricks anyway. So it'd probably just be an extra under trick to find the ruff.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I mean I think East should find the 10 of heart lead, but it's noticeably harder for them to do things from their side than from partner's side, where they can
where you probably get it just immediate diamond lead solving the hand.
Right. Well, and it's also harder with North being the closed hand, right? That you don't get to see the king queen of clubs and the ace of diamonds screaming, hey, let's get a diamond on the table right now. Right?
Yes, and this is a major advantage, underappreciated advantage of transfers, right? Because when we can see the non-master hand in the suit contract, it's usually straightforward to evaluate whether an active defense is needed, whether the defense has to start breaking suits because Declarer is going to enjoy discards, right? So here we see that king queen four the clubs, it's kind of looming large for both defenders. When we see the long trumps, by contrast, we have no idea whether there's a source of tricks in the non-master hand. So that's kind of what Adam's referring to, and it will make it, in general, harder, for the defenders.
And so here it looks like they have gotten themselves to 4 hearts. They invited on the 2 level. North showed a maximum with probably a doubleton heart. South said, "Hey, I have 6 hearts," and North said, "Great, let's play game." So we'll see if we can get that heart lead and
and again, West, when they come on lead, they don't know necessarily which suit needs to come through, although there'll be some chances to signal. So yeah, it's a little bit exciting. Now it's also exciting from Declare's perspective, because remember, we looking at all four hands, we see that the hearts are 3-2. So Declare can sort of, win the heart in hand, overtake the second heart, draw trumps, and kind of, cause some problems for the defenders. But I think Declare is really going to be sweating 4-1 hearts here. So
right. I don't think they're going to overtake the heart. In fact, I think it seems kind of natural to me to win both hearts and use that opportunity to put a club to the jack,
right,
and sort of maximize our chances there. Cash a couple hearts, and then try to decide, what are we doing in the club suit, right?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
And Declare does know that ace king of spades are probably split, right? Because there was no spade lead. So West has some spade owners, so the ace of clubs is going to be with the east. So club to jack is going to live.
Yeah,
right. And not only that, then I think Declare does actually have a legitimate chance to get this right? Like the fact that West passed over a diamond, right? They didn't bid a spade, so they don't rate to have king fourth of spades unless they're really completely broke. The fact that East made we've seen 3 hearts from East. They're likely to have 4 spades. They might have 5 diamonds, and theoretically they could have 3, but I think Declare might actually have a shot to get it right.
Particularly because the deuce of clubs is probably upside down count for this pair. Although this is definitely
the club pitch the club pitch gives away the show. I don't think we should have done that.
I think
so. With Declare having opened a club, right, we can be pretty sure that we don't need one of the pointy suits, and whereas a club could be really important for us. So Declare here I won't have any problem, but
what does West know about the hand?
Yeah, I think West should be able to solve this, right? Because if a club to the jack held because Declare had, ace, king, queen, 4 of the clubs, then we're already on the next board, right? 4 clubs and 6 hearts is 10. So we place East with the club ace, most likely,
Yeah, exactly. And as long as we put partner on the club, on the ace of clubs, I guess we lost Chris there. But as long as we put partner on the ace of clubs, we can tell we have to keep those clubs.
Right.
And in fact, we probably don't need one of our diamonds, and arguably could even afford a spade. But pitching a high diamond here seems straightforward to sort of clue partner in. That hey, we have a spade card. And that and it avoids giving away too much info for Declare.
Yeah, I think even the 10 of diamonds here, sort of again, screaming discouragement. We also played 7-6 of hearts, right? That little suit preference signal. So just really make sure partner is confident we have the king of spades. Again, because we know we need 2 spades and a diamond to go with partner's hypothetical ace of clubs to defeat it. So it's not like we need to hold diamonds for any reason. Yeah, and sure enough here, East didn't get the message.
Right.
To be fair, the club is 2+, so maybe North could have been 4-2, 4-3, in which case maybe a diamond discard could have been dangerous if Declare had ace 9 4 of diamonds. But I think a spade pitch is always safe.
Yeah, no, but then
we're always going to be able to cash our winners in time.
Yeah, exactly, right. We need to have 2 spades and a diamond to go with our ace.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So it'll always be all right.
Yeah,
it's just a good spot to take a little time.
Mm-hmm. And so here it looks like the North South have gotten themselves to 4 spades. They're depending on how on sort of how the play goes, they might be able to work out that West is a favorite to have the king of spades.
It looks like
guaranteed to have it from this heart lead, because they'll probably place West on ace queen jack of hearts, and maybe unless West is really careful, right? Probably they're not going to be, or they might be able to work out where the club honors are before sort of breaking trumps and having to decide, right? So even if they play, let's say, a heart and shift to a diamond or something, right? Declarer might actually play a club at trick 2, early on, sort of trying to discover what's going on. Where are the honors? And if they can work out that East started with Ace Queen Jack of Hearts West started with Ace Queen Jack of Hearts and East has the Ace of Clubs. It on this hand it actually isn't quite enough, right? Because East probably would have opened either way, and they're in third chair, but they have at least a little more of a shot than they would if
I don't think there's any way to kind of count out the West hand, because as we're sort of looking at it, of course, West would also have opened if the king were a deuce. I think the more interesting question is, what can they figure out about the East hand? Because certainly East would have shown spades with the same distribution with the spade king. However, I don't know that the declarer is going to be able to get a sort of a diamond count. And so another possibility for East where he wouldn't bid would be king third of spades, 3 hearts, 4 diamonds to the 10, and ace third of clubs. He'd just have nothing to bid probably after the 1 diamond overcall, unless they're playing fancy transfers where he could bid 1 spade to show no major or something like that. But so if they're not playing anything fancy, there might still be room for East to have king third of spades. But if he somehow does diagnose the distribution, he would go right, just because for East's failure to show spades after the 1 diamond overcall.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So yeah, I mean, West is of course not thinking about what to do on the King of Hearts, but thinking about, after I win this heart, what's my plan, right? And he can't necessarily know that partner has led from 10-9 third of hearts. So in fact, he might win the Ace of Hearts, play the Queen of Hearts, see both players follow small, and consider even playing a low heart next. But he's potentially worried that partner has led from 10 doubleton of hearts. Right?
Although I think if 10 doubleton were led, we would never see the king, I don't think, from declare. If he had 3 little he would just die.
Right. Well, and assuming that that's the case, right? Look at as West, we might be thinking that actually we need a club through dummy before declarer can draw trumps and establish their tricks. So we might even be thinking about winning the Ace of Hearts and playing a low heart to partner to let them put a club through for us. Right. And because we can see that we might be getting 2 hearts, a spade, and a club if we can get a club.
That's unlikely, right?
Because
right? North did overcall a diamond and did volunteer 2 spades. I feel like they're often going to be 4-6. I mean, especially if you're not giving them 2. And so they might only have 3 round cards in general. So if they have 2 small hearts, they're going to have a stiff club.
Right, but it's also possible that they have only 5 diamonds and ace 10 of clubs, for example. Right now, granted, maybe partner would have got a club from that, but it's at least sort of a plausible possibility that declarer has queen 4 too low, ace king queen 5th, or maybe slightly weaker diamonds, and ace 10 of clubs. Right, that's also consistent with what.
Sure, that's also consistent with the auction.
And if that's the case, we probably need to get a club through dummy's queen right now, so that we'll have 4 tricks later on. When we're in, hopefully, with our stiff king of spades.
Yep.
And so at the other table in the auction on this board, Olivia chose to bid 2 clubs. And Harrison chose to bid 2 diamonds, which I'm not a big fan of with the North hand, and that may wind up lead to them missing. That does lead to them missing their 4-4 spade flip. Right, North's hand, when partner is shown values over a diamond, with 6 diamond tricks and 6-4, feels like it's probably worth at least giving it a shot with 2 spades over 2 clubs.
Yes. We have big distribution if our partner does have a spade fit, and 6 tricks and no trump if partner doesn't have a spade fit. So if partner does want to bid some game, we're probably in good shape.
Oh. We can always retreat to 3 diamonds if we want to. Oh, spade lead.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, a quick ace here, right? I don't think someone's coming out with a random spade from king empty 4th of spades.
Yeah. You're probably just going to play the ace, pull trumps, and claim pretty early. I don't imagine it's going to be much thought 2 diamonds.
Yeah, quick ace, and that's that.
Yeah, thank you, partner, for your spade lead. If only I had told you what to bid twice.
Yeah, maybe I should have opened a spade to get a club lead or something.
Yes, exactly. But of course, in 2 diamonds, perhaps it's not the end of the world by any means. But yes.
But yeah, it looks like West here on the left is kind of sweating the point that you were making, Adam. Do I need to underlead here? I mean, it's just a suspicious thing. I mean, you sort of, I think, if your partner isn't analytically, right, if your partner isn't short in hearts, they have some reason to try for a ruff or something like that, they must have the ace of clubs, right? Because otherwise they would probably lead clubs.
It makes sense.
3 little clubs or something, or 10-3 of clubs is a pretty attractive lead, as opposed to 10-9-3 of some totally unbid suit. So West will probably sweat it. Some of these are.
There's also the concern that maybe he's worried he's giving away the show if he plays a small club to the ace. Then he knows his stiff spade king is marked, so he doesn't. He probably does not want to expose that. He does not want to expose that at this early.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm just making the point that he wouldn't need to underlead because either his partner's roughing the 3rd round of hearts, and that's why he led hearts. 10 double 10, 10 9 double 10. Or his partner just has a random hard holding with the ace of clubs where he can get the clubs later by switching after he wins his game.
He tries the queen of hearts.
That is not good because now Declare is going to be able to rough this.
Now
he'll have a heart pitch, theoretically.
Yeah, he's just going to, but it's weird in a way.
Yeah.
So it's I think in a weird way, it's maybe made it. Yeah, I just don't see any way. He does have a heart pitch, but he can't enjoy it still drawing trumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but he still might decide the ace and king of clubs are split because West did take a long time. West did not try to cash a club first, maybe get a count on the clubs before doing this hard play. So it does feel like the club honors are probably split from Declare's perspective. So he still may get it correct.
Well, that's still potentially 12 points in West, right? Ace Jack.
Right. It's more about. I mean, if East has king of clubs, king of spades, they also probably put a spade. But they Declarer doesn't know what the shape is aside from West having 4 hearts, right?
He decides to take the finesse.
Very reasonable to do this, and now West has to be a little careful, right? They might have been thinking, oh, I'm going to give partner a trump promotion. Right, by with this 4th heart, but now they need to sort of take stock, say, hey, wait a minute, well, first of all, partner played the 2 of spades. They might have been playing a higher spade if they wanted a heart, and so this 2 of spades should be really screaming clubs, I think. And second of all, Declare squandered the 9 of spades in the first round of on the 3rd round of hearts inexplicably. Right, or maybe not inexplicably, but the Declarer knows that I don't have 5 hearts, right? And so they didn't need to rough with that 9 of spades. The only reason why they might have been doing that is if they had, pretty much solid spades. The only question is, where is the queen, right? And theoretically, maybe partner could have queen 4th of spades, and that's where we would need to put a heart through right now, right? But if partner had queen 4th of spades, they should have played a spade higher than the 2. That's the sort of key inference here. is that when partner plays the 2 of spades, they had, we know that they had plenty of other choices of spades to play that, were all sort of innocuous and not going to give away much. And so that 2 of spades should tell us that they're telling us we don't want hearts, we want clubs.
So it's a suit preference signal, basically high spot for a higher suit, low spot for lower suit. Diamonds, of course, not in the cushion.
Exactly. And so if partner had queen 4 of spades and not the ace of clubs, where it would be necessary to play another heart right now, then they would have played, say, the 5 or the 7 of spades or something else. When they play the 2, that says, no, I want clubs, right? I have something in clubs. Here, of course, that looks like the ace. Now, Michael, if he reads that, he might even play the king of clubs, and just in case partner has both, right? We take our club trick, and then we try the 4th heart and see what happens, right? But certainly we got to be playing a club.
Now, meanwhile,
what's happening with the other table?
Yeah, East-West getting into some trouble here. Whoops. Yeah. So
what's the other 2 hearts and 3 spades? If we can hover those, 2 diamonds, natural-ish topper, 3 spades, natural. So West is basically kind of shaping out, showing that they have weakness in clubs.
Right. Well, and this is maybe an argument for her having opened a no trump.
I 100% agree.
This singleton king looks an awful lot more like a doubleton club than it does like a singleton club.
And Michael played a club after Michael finally got the club on the table, so it's down 1.
Yeah, exactly. So well done by the defense there to avoid the trap. And it's kind of it's an interesting problem from West's perspective, and Finn, even though his hand is mostly low cards and whatever else, was able to give a very helpful signal.
2 of spades, exactly.
So it's even when you have kind of a bunch of low cards, often you're able to actually help partner work out what's going on and find the right defense. So you shouldn't be sort of shutting your brain off just because you have low cards, right? And so here, I think honestly with Olivia's hand, I think I would have just bid 3-0 over 2-0. But I also would have opened it a no trump because I kind of don't like this rebid problem. And
she might have been considering racing either major, which is the most probabilistic response you're going to get. But obviously 2 diamonds meant she had to improvise a bit.
Yeah, but even if partner bids a heart, I don't really want to bid 3 hearts. I think I'm going to have to, right? Like kind of, but also, it doesn't feel great. Right, like the stiff king of clubs looks a lot more like a doubleton than it does like.
Absolutely.
Here's the problem with it, and this, by the way, just applies to singleton king hands generally. So I'm going to assume here that this inverted raise was forcing the 3 diamonds, and that so 2-0 trump didn't establish a game for us yet. I'm guessing that's how they play. In that case, if you pattern out with the West hand with 3 spades, so you're showing a game force with this shape, partner is going to start visualizing hands where your king of clubs is elsewhere with the same distribution. And so as a result, you're going to have one extra loser than whatever partner is visualizing, right? So if I'm in Stella's seat and I think my partner is shown, let's say 15, right? I'm giving my partner king 5th of diamonds, right? So I have no diamond loser and a low singleton club, right? Much more likely hand to be dealt.
Yeah, just move the king of clubs to king of diamonds, and Stella's ace-third of clubs opposite a presumed short club. A stiff club is looking really prime, so it makes sense how that she's bidding the way she is.
Yes,
right.
When you open a no trump with this hand, you're not trying to trick anyone. You're trying to actually have partner evaluate better. And once in a while, you're going to have a disastrous result because partner is going to have 3 small clubs, and they're going to lead a club to the ace and run the suit, and it is a low singleton. But the vast majority of times that your side reaches some high contract, partner will have combining club values. And so, you can see here what
it's basically on 2 finesses. They let a heart.
Yeah. So they need 2 finesses. Way overboard, which is too bad because they would have survived getting to 5 diamonds with the club finesse winning. But you see in the other room, it's sort of West did choose to treat his hand as balanced.
What was the alert on 2 spades? Because they did open a diamond and not a no trump. Invitational diamond.
And then West to no trump, which I'm sure was asking.
Was balanced, and then they were done.
Balanced ass. So he just essentially made that decision.
So did he downgrade then? Did he downgrade to like a no trump rebate? Because I do believe also East West are playing a 14 to 16 no trump.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's less that he downgraded and more that he opened a diamond and was going to work out which lie or which thing to do later. But I do think just sort of, as Chris was saying, this hand looks a lot more like 14 to 16 or 15 to 17 balanced than it does like a 5-4-3-1 hand with 5 with diamonds.
There's an alert on the 2 no trump. Is that just balanced, alerted, or
no? It's just asking. So 2 spades
could have. Sure that, for example, if he didn't ask, those would have been singleton joeing or something. So it's implicit.
Right. I mean, he could have probably been 3-0 go away, but with his hand with ace third of spades, for example, if partner has a stiff spade, that's pretty good for him. So he bids 2-0 asking, he hears 3-0 sort of balanced, nothing special, and says, "Great, here we are. Right, I'm done." And of course, in the other room, this 6 diamonds, there's really not much in the way of hope for the player here. They only even though they have a pitch on the ace of clubs, they still can't solve both of those. Get rid of both of those hearts.
I mean, you have a hard loser. There's really no way around it.
Yeah. So, and in 3-0, it's all pretty straightforward. Declarer has lots of tricks, and we'll take them sooner or later. So. This will be a little bit more, another 10 imps probably, maybe 11 for Kolesnik. And that'll extend their lead to something over 30, I guess, 36 probably, after this first set.
Yeah, they're leading by 25 at the moment, so that's correct.
Yeah. So, and of course, this is 8 sets. It's pretty great that 120 board USA1 final is really sort of make sure that ideally in the long run the best team wins, right? Over 100, the more boards you have, the more sort of luck here and there will tend to balance itself out, and the winner of an 120 board match will tend to be sort of more of the best team versus a shorter match. So,
and she's tried for some squeeze, but she didn't take the spade finesse instead of the guaranteed down 1, so she's trying for some squeeze, but of course that doesn't materialize here. Right. Someone needed to have the heart and club guard both, but that's not going to happen.
Yes. And so she took her best chance in 6 diamonds, but today there's really not much to do, and other than to have avoided it in the auction, and so all right. So yes, 36 in for lead for Kolesnik.
And let's look at the standings. Zhang and Eckert has a tip board left, but besides, and I believe that we're going to be watching that much later.
With the board left and that imp average, they
oh my God, Jesus! I did not pay attention to the score. I just saw 14.
Yes, the score makes it look like they're hitting them over the head with the board that's left, but
Jesus.
Yes.
And Young, of course, having a good lead, a solid lead over Chen, but the other matches look a bit closer.
Yeah,
one matchup.
We'll see Chen and Young in the next quarter in about 15 minutes.
All right. Exciting. And I think I'm off for the rest of the day, so I will probably join you guys at some point in the chat. But we'll. Who do you have planned for the next set?
Chris will be continuing, and Michael Berkowitz is going to be joining.
Awesome. That should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and make sure you guys send me a link, and I'll see you in 15 minutes.
We're going to be using the same link.
Yeah, it's the same link. It's evergreen. So.
I'll be back.
Yes. All right.
All right.
And I will see. Well, I guess tomorrow potentially. I might be able to. I don't think you have me on the calendar for tomorrow, but I might be able to hop on for a bit. So.
Right. We do have you on the calendar tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, Adam.
When tomorrow? Out of curiosity.
We have you tomorrow for the 12:30 p.m. segment, the second segment tomorrow.
Great. That sounds good. I have added that to my calendar, so you won't be waiting for me and wondering where I am. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, perfect.
We'll see
Thank
you later.
Adam.
Bye.
All right. And with that concludes the first segment. As you can see, a lot of matches. Key and Silverstein is a really close affair. Key and Jay is a bit further apart, but obviously 32 imps is basically nothing in junior bridge. And Young and Chen is a pretty close affair too. Eckert has had a massive set over Zheng. 72 imp lead over after the first quarter, but bigger comebacks have happened in bridge. And like Cyrus pointed out, we're going to be watching Chen and Young in the second segment. Chris is going to be joining us back in commentary with Michael Berkowitz. We're going to take a short break and stay tuned.